Hi, folks. So, okay. Time for a little bit more honest truth here. The reality is, do I believe that churches, like the ones in the area I'm in, that the majority of these churches, do I believe that they're going to turn around and do according to the will of God? No, I don't. Well, no, I don't see any signs. The problem is also because we've just come out of COVID. Still relatively recent with regards to world events, or the history of world events is still relatively recent, and the effects of it is still being felt. And because people are going to church to find hope, which they struggled to find during COVID, well, basically for most people it wasn't anywhere near them, it looks as if church is doing well, right? And with regards to pastors and stuff like that, with regards to things like the filling station in Elgin, they have a decent amount of people going to it. Because they have a decent amount of people going to it, they think they're doing a good job. And the problem is, until it pretty much empties, until they get to a point where the churches and filling station, until it gets to a point where it's bloody obvious that they're not doing a good job, it's obvious that things need to change, they won't change. There's no reason. There's nothing there, is there? There's nothing that's going to push them to change. Not in any way, shape, or form. Because again, for changing in the way that they need to change, there needs to be quite a big push, quite a big motive, because the change has to be pretty big. Well, when I say pretty big, I mean complete. Really. You've got to go from serving people and being of this world to understanding you're serving the kingdom and being of God. Therefore, you've got to get to a point where you understand the way you believe things, well, the way they believe things now, is wrong. But all the while things seem to be going well, they won't have that, will they? The proverbial crap has to hit the fan in order for that to happen, in order for change to really take place. And I don't think it's going to happen, for reasons already mentioned and reasons mentioned in other videos. I don't think that, well, as I say, the people are quite, if the pastors are persuading people that this is God and that this will lead them to heaven, then I think, realistically speaking, what are you going to do with that? Are they going to quickly get to a point, or quickly or not quickly, are they going to get to a point where they realize that no, this is not? Well, God can do it. God can speak to people in their dreams. God can do that. There's other things that God can do, other ways that God can do things. But as of yet, God hasn't, and I don't get the impression that there's going to be a massive campaign of God to turn the hearts of the people who are incredibly disobedient into being obedient. I don't get the impression that that's going to be the case. So that bit, in a way, is settled in my mind. I say in a way it's settled because I know with me, in a way, and as I say, in a way, because that's true. I mean, through most of my relationship with God, most of the 30, what is it now? 32 years, most of that time, I was asking questions. I could see that things weren't as they should be. And I was wanting to understand, and I was going to God about it. Yeah. Even though for most of those years I didn't understand. And for most of those years I was struggling massively myself with walking according to God. And yeah, I fell into quite a lot of traps. During that time, I didn't do well at all. I was homeless a number of times, and yeah, and worse. So I know it took about 27 years in my walk with God until I was able to receive what I now have. Took 27 years. So therefore, I also know, and this is another point that's true, if it took 27 years for me, and being completely honest, for me, if I looked at me, I would not say this is someone who is of God. I was never of church. I was never that. Oh, no, never. But did not look in any way, shape, or form like I was someone of God. Didn't happen. So in the end, yeah, I can look at other people and say, well, maybe that's what I'm seeing in them. And maybe what's going to happen with them pretty soon is that they are going to be brought into a far, far greater understanding very, very soon, as I was. Because that is true. Now, do I think for most that would be the case? No. The problem is that through looking at people, you cannot tell who will be the ones that will make that journey. And so therefore you can't discount anyone in that sense, because you understand that, put it this way, would I have discounted myself 20 years ago? Or even, oh, 1 second, no, 12 years ago. Would I have discounted myself? Yeah. Would I have said that it looks as if I'm not going to reach the potential? Yeah. Yeah. Now I've gone way beyond what my potential was in my understanding over those 27 years. And so if I can, so can they. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. In a way, the right thing to do is to walk away and give up on these people. But with the understanding that maybe one day you'll go back, because there'll be one or two that can be helped. And I think that's a situation, and I think in most areas that would be the case in most churches. So there you go. I wish you well. I hope that you can go on whatever journey you need to get right with God. Take care. God bless. Speak to you soon.